Thank you, Mr. Chair. And as General Clark had testified earlier this year, our adversaries are increasingly using asymmetric tactics to undermine longstanding U.S. conventional advantages. And Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster memorably said, one of my favorite quotes, "There are two fundamental ways to fight, asymmetrically and stupidly." So SOF is uniquely suited to operate in the irregular warfare domain. That's your focus, your area. So, gentlemen, how do you view the role of your forces in operating in the irregular warfare domain during competition with our near peers? And General Glenn, I'll start with you, and we'll go the other direction.
Thank you, Senator. And it's a very good question. We just had Lieutenant General McMaster join us virtually for a symposium we call Cognitive Radar. Okay. And he had a similar comment to make in that setting. It was good. What I would begin with, at least, and then let the other commanders comment. What I would begin with is to say that yesterday's irregular, symmetric warfare is, as General Slife had in his opening comment, is behind us. That the folks that have had the opportunity to study how we have done business for the last 20 years have come to the conclusions that lead us to an emerging threats discussion like we're having today, which is why increasingly SOCOM as an enterprise and MARSOC as a part of it is focused in the areas that I mentioned earlier. For starters, the question that was just brought up, electromagnetic spectrum. How do we look in that environment today? And what is it that our competitors see in us today? And so to think about how irregular warfare will be going forward, for us, we look at how is it that our digital footprint can be both a source of deception to an adversary as well as a source of knowledge for us so that we do not break squelch in unclassified terms and we can continue to operate, as General Bodette mentioned, in plain sight. And I'll stop in the electromagnetic spectrum and let others talk about cyber and other areas.
Great, thank you. Admiral Howard?
No, thank you, Senator. In strategic competition, irregular approaches, as you said, that's distinctive to special operations. That's what we provide to the joint force. And it's irregular approaches to do what? To solve hard problems and shape and deter adversaries. And it's irregular approaches to communicate in ways that undermine their confidence and strengthen diplomatic leverage. And taking what we learned in counterterrorism, our understanding of network development, integration of operations and intelligence to shape irregular approaches for peer and near-peer adversaries, absolutely what we are focused on as an enterprise, and to bring our creativity to bear for the nation in ways that can be not just asymmetric or irregular, but also cost-effective.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you.
Senator, historically, the Special Operations Forces have been supporting to the broader joint force with unique capabilities and skills that aren't resident elsewhere in the force. Over the last 20 years, in many ways, we have become a supported force. But I think as we look towards the future, much of our value proposition will be as a supporting force to the broader joint force. And so when you look at the things that are important to the broader joint force in the event of conflict, many of them will require long lead activities to hold those targets at risk. And that's where I think the unique value proposition of SOF is with our unparalleled access and placement around the globe. We can use that access and placement to set the conditions for the broader joint force to be successful in conflict.
Excellent, thank you. General Bodette.
Senator, thank you. We're not the only practitioners of irregular warfare, but we feel that we're one of the best. And it's part and parcel to our culture, and it's fundamental to the excellence of our men and women, their creativity, their agility, their professionalism, their discipline. we can create dilemmas for our adversaries, and we feel that we can be strong where they are weak. My colleagues mentioned cyber and electronic warfare. Information warfare is another critically important component where we feel that we have exceptional, frankly, the premier practitioners on behalf of the DoD in our psychological operations formations. And so working with those skills and attributes through allies, partners, as General Schleif mentioned, access and placement, we can be a significant force for irregular warfare in support of ongoing competition for the nation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen, and I will yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator.